Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States, the annual State of the Union address scheduled for this Tuesday. I'll be reporting live from the Capitol complex with lots of interviews before and after the address, and I'm contractually obligated to remind you that our coverage begins at 9 p.m. on Tuesday and that we'd very much like it if you tuned in to join us. Now, having said that, President...
Can I interrupt? That was the worst tease I think I've ever heard for an upcoming program.
But I really meant it.
And you wrote it. Are you telling people not to watch?
President Obama is giving an hour-long speech. Among his topics will be inequality, taxes, the safety net, unemployment, the minimum wage, all areas where there is little agreement in Washington and little hope of any deals being struck. Democrats hinting that this is less about pushing policy ideas, more about positioning for the midterm elections in November. And we really do want people to watch. Let's get that right. But with so little expectation that anything's going to get done on this, it does seem like this is a pretty insignificant State of the Union address. Is there any disagreement on that?
The president gives a great speech, no matter what you think about him politically. He can take a ham, egg, and cheese sandwich and make that sound fantastic after about 5 minutes.
But
when you read what he says, when you read what he says, there's no there. It's empty.
Good guess.
First of all, let's be honest. Whether a Democrat is delivering the speech or Republican, the American people don't really seem to, it doesn't move the meter that much one way or the other. Us inside folks may get excited about a State of the Union address, but do you really think the American people get excited about this?
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. But among the insiders like us, there seems to be less buzz than normal.
Well, because we all know no matter what the president says, take the party label out of it, absolutely nothing is going to get done in Washington.
Go ahead.
I'm not quite that lacking in hope. I think there's a couple things might get done. Honestly, I noticed. Well, I'll give you one. I noticed some actual Republican movement on immigration. I think that there were Republicans and maybe some of your friends who actually think, you know what, it really might be in everyone's interest to get a little something done there. Plus, the president has learned with the changing rules in the Senate, how to make appointments. That can be very important. I'm excited about some of these new judges coming in.
Right.
And these executive orders. Boy, what a nice tool that turns out to be. Yeah. I never knew how much I liked that.
The bully pulpit, as
I never knew how much I liked that.
Well, the bigger thing, though, I think it's important. I think we all just said it's inside baseball. As you said, executive orders and so forth. When the president stands up that night and says, I'm going to do A, B, and C, or I have to get buy-in for legislation for A, B, and C, the real things that matter, I think, from a PR perspective and the American public paying attention, are where he goes the rest of the week. Every president tries to then time their travel across the country next to deliver the message on those one or two top issues to get the buy-in from the legislators, from the public, and the press.
Well, Mr. President, there's a chair open on RFL. We'd love to have you if you want to. Speaking of those A, B's, and C's, if you could write one platform plank for him or give him one line, what would you like to hear him say? What would that be? I'm curious, Alice. What would you?
You know, it's funny. I keep bouncing back to this income distribution stuff, which really is a huge issue in our world. I mean, it's become a gaping issue. No one really knows how to deal with it. Unlike Mayor de Blasio, who we may have a chance to talk about in the hour, the president can actually do some things about it. And I'd like to see him talk about that. Really talk about that in an eloquent way.
I think the drinking game that night is the word inequality I wrote down. How many times does this president say the word inequality, which has been polled much more so in the past year since de Blasio has been using it than it was in the years prior? So that'll be a big question for me.
I wish the president would say about something about the middle class. I haven't forgotten you. I know why I was elected. And with these remaining few years in office, my dedication is going to be steadfast to you and actually mean it and actually follow through with it and do whatever he can through executive order or through his judicial appointments, whatever, to push towards the middle class.
O'Brien, short of I resign, what would you like to hear him say Tuesday?
I can't use that one? No, I think the important thing is going to be how much he reaches across the aisle right now. If he can work with both parties, if he can work with both parties and achieve something, for him it's better and the country it's better. The more he wants to use executive orders and the bully pulpit and come after Republicans, the more likely it is that we win the Senate back and he has to really come back Andrew, begging for his last 2 years.
Can you clear a spot? This is a part of the hour where I start banging my head on the table.
You always did that when I thought.
So wait a minute now. So the president Yes, he has a bully pulpit, but so he should be the one reaching out to the Republicans when the Republicans have been the ones to
I've
do
repeatedly
everything in
said
their
he's-
power to stop him.
I've repeatedly said he's done a lousy job reaching across the aisle.
No,
and even on this set, Obama has.
How about the Republicans?
Pitiful.
How about the Republicans?
He's got the power
Well,
of the
Dominic,
Oval Office.
Dominic, if
You got
only,
the
if only
pillow?
the president,
I'll
if
start.
only the president would agree to every Republican position,
Right,
well,
right.
we would
No,
have
Everything
to-
will be
on
fine.
this set,
Right,
Jimmy
right.
Carter. We talked about Jimmy Carter being much better doing that than Obama, and look at that.
Notice he wouldn't grade the Republicans reaching out to the president.
Also, notice Jimmy Carter had one term. One other thing that we expect
the
to hear,
hostages, I mean,
one
you can
other thing
point
that we
to
expect to
other
hear from the
issues.
president Tuesday night: a push for nationwide universal pre-K classes. And if that issue sounds familiar, it should. We heard a lot about it from Bill de Blasio when he ran for mayor of New York this summer, and de Blasio did fairly well with it. He did win the mayor's office by 48 points or something to that degree. And since then, a lot of other Democrats have been talking about it too, like Governor Cuomo, who appears ready to inch in on the policy, and now President Obama. I'm not sure what to make of all this. I guess somebody comes up with a good idea and everybody wants in.
I mean, if you think he inched in, I would say what comes after? Maybe did he foot in, a yard in, or I mean, he cut the legs out of the mayor on that one. I think. I mean, think about what Andrew offered, right? He said, "I will do the same thing Mayor de Blasio offered, but I'll do it for free. I won't raise anybody's taxes. I'll find the money in the budget." It puts Bill de Blasio in a tough position, I think.
Well, what do you make then of President Obama apparently going to make something of this in the State of the Union address on
Listen,
Tuesday?
I believe in it as someone who did not get nearly enough early childhood education.
Why are you laughing?
I recognize its clear benefits.
Maybe if you got more, you'd be a Republican.
But why are you laughing?
No, I think it's important. I think it's great. I mean, don't you think it actually helps? I mean, is anyone against
No, and I
2 and
think-
3 and
Wait,
4-year-olds
I really
going
want
to
to hear
school?
Obie's response.
But the other side of this,
Wait,
isn't
let's
just
hear
pre-K. Let's see if he goes to school choice and charter schools and really brings it all around for what's best for our children in education.
Okay, but do you support universal pre-K?
Yes, I think educating our children, it should be the #1 issue, no question about it. I think Bill de Blasio's use it as a pig in a poke to try to raise taxes at this point. All he cares about is raising taxes on anybody that makes
very
money.
quickly, because I have no time, but I'm really
Pig
curious.
in a poke.
Do you think
Poke that
Obama
pig.
and Cuomo are just trying to get in on the policy, or is this a coordinated effort to shut de Blasio up? This is my conspiracy theory of the day, that they want de Blasio to go away, so they're just going to co-opt the story. They don't want to get it too far
Obama doesn't
left.
want him to go away.
It polls
Not
well.
too far left.
De Blasio's doing the legwork for the president.
I'll take my
polls well, Doc.
tinfoil hat off. I'll put
And
it
it polls
aside.
well.
It
Right.
polls well. Wait, do you really think in today's day and age the president says anything in that State of the Union or any time that doesn't poll well?
And again, we'll have it for you Tuesday night, starting at 9 o'clock, right here on RFL. Up next, the former governor of Virginia in court today on corruption charges because allegedly Bob McDonald had a trip and a Ferrari and a Rolex and a loan and lots more EIEIO. Fun aside, are the McDonald's the exception in politics or the rule? That plus the high cost of being political next.